There's not a lot going on out here just yet, but I had to check. Oh, there's a tiny bit right there. Because I was inspired. Last weekend, I spent several hours working in the garden behind the house that used to be my mom and dad's, and that's where my son now lives. And I uncovered several of these really cool big rocks that I know Mom had put there as kind of a decorative element. They were completely covered up with leaves and ivy that the owners, between my parents and my son, had just kind of let everything run wild. Well, next to several of those rocks, I uncovered these little patches of crocus and hyacinth that were trying desperately to work their way through all of that so that they could see the sun. I know that if I hadn't exposed them the way I did, they wouldn't have bloomed. This week, I've worked with several clients who are having problems. And what I'm learning is the more I work with people, it's so much easier to see someone else's problems than to see our own. Now, that other person may think that they're covering up their problems and we don't really see it, but we do. And we may think we're covering up our problems and that they don't really see it, but they do. So the big question is, how do we get to the place where we can actually see and own our own problems? I think the answer is questions. But it has to be a question that's said in a certain way, and it has to be a certain kind of question. To say to someone, "Why are you reacting like such an idiot?" probably isn't going to set really well. If we could step back and say, "Wow, you really have a reaction to that. Can you help me understand what's behind it?" Might do better. Okay, that sounds pretty simple, right? And it is, except for one word: emotion. See, emotion is energy in motion. And anytime we have negative energy around a situation, around a problem, anything that we say or ask can feel a little bit more like we're with a vengeance, ripping out the leaves and the ivy, and in the process we can actually pull up the fledgling plant and then it will die. My goal as a speaker, a trainer, and a coach is to ask questions in a way that helps people expand their thinking about what's possible, have their problem exposed, but also help them to see their potential to grow and bloom. If you or your team need that kind of help, I would love to hear from you. Because here's what I know. Left alone, old habits that just try to cover up problems expand like that ivy in the garden and eventually choke out everything else that's there. That's my perspective this Friday. I'm Amy Barg. Live and large.